Hi everyone, it's Veronica Bartolini with Codebreaker Real Talk. And today we have another exciting day. We have more information. We're going to talk about healing generational curses, nanotech. And here we are with Tom Althouse and Chad Cooper. I'm very excited to be here. So take it away, Tom. You were talking about the Cuban thing.
Yes, it's one of their best devices, one of the worst devices actually, that have been employed by the Pentagon and the FBI and Canadian under Trudeau's Canadian group. What they've done in the government, they have used nanotech, and nanotech is something we're going to hear more and more about. Nanotech is going to be used in conjunction with Neuralink to be a complete shutdown on humanity's freedom worldwide. And so we have to be very careful with what's coming and just say no to it, like so many brave people did to the stick us in the arm. What's going to happen is with its nanotech, I already have been given it, which was a stupid move on their part, because I've been able to study how it works and what works and how you can tell. One of the things you can do to stop or short circuit it for a bit is simply pressure. Nanotech is inserted in the ear. You can ingest it through fluid, or it can be done as it was done on me surgically, where they did a simple nick with a little X-Acto knife, simple nick, scalpel in the ear, right along that resonant bone. Then what they do is they use a saturated Q-tip. They make you press it yourself, and that's how the nanotech transverses your membrane and gets in. Once it's in there, as Spielberg broadcasted in Minority Report, it's beyond their wildest dreams. It's stuck in that little paper shot newspaper. He's saying medical nanotech triumphs, medical breakthrough, whatever. It's a transmitter also. It's a precursor to actually having telepathy, man-made telepathy, where we'll be able to transmit our own thoughts. Precursor. With Neuralink, we can do that. It'll be the final step, all linked together like a hive. But with this Neuralink stuff, the nanotech, if I put my finger in the ear and touch upon the incision point, it's now healed. If I press down on it, I will hear this at first. It's always variant, fluctuating, so you can't concentrate. When I push down, I hear this. So it's affected by pressure, which means it's mechanical, biological and mechanical. So it can be broken. It can be disrupted. Of course, this is a colony of nanoparticles, and they work together. And they've been working on this, that mankind would do this to another human being or human beings is incredible. This needs to be something addressed in tribunals in the future. And there should be a death penalty for having messed with people this way. Children, elderly, anybody who's a target, gifted people. This should be a death penalty. And before I said I didn't advocate that kind of thing. Now I am. When I've learned what the Pentagon, CIA, and FBI have done, their asses need to be dragged into a court. They need to be tried, due process, and then executed. Their leaders and any agent that was compliant with this should be executed. And I'm announcing that. I'm saying that. And I'm going to work towards that. They should not be on this plane of existence. If you're going to do this to humanity and try to take away the gifts that were given to make a better world, you should not be on this plane. And I'll be there. And I'll swing the sword if I have to. I'll pull the switch. I'll hang the rope. I'll do it.
They're getting rid of creativity in the schools, right? And so and then Veronica shared this lovely book with me from Aleister Crowley, The Book of the Law, I believe. I think I had Tourette's through that whole book. And I'll tell you, don't want to know what I was saying, but I was saying basically, fuck you, you're not my God. I don't know who the fuck you are, but you're not my God. Oh, the fuck, you're not my God. I just kept saying it over and over. Because I'm sorry, excuse my language, but it Tourette's, it just offended me, everything that I heard in that book. But they were talking about, like, if you wipe out genius and you wipe out creativity, exactly. Yep, that book right there. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the books these people follow, that's like the 48 laws of power. And they talk about, like, if you have like a despot or somebody like in North Korea that wipes out all creativity, or anybody who's genius, you wipe out mankind. So that's basically, you're taking, it starts in our schools, you're taking it out of there, but there's little steps, and before you know it, there goes mankind.
That's such a good point, Chad, because when I was in school, when they finally tested me, they tested gifted genius. They tested that, right? But they were going to hold me back. Through the regular school process, I would have flunked out and been considered a failure because I was so bored with how dumb the teachers were. At Barkley Elementary and Tamanin Junior High, I met so many just terrible teachers. Why do some of the worst become teachers? And in the system, they promote them. Look at my sister. What is she doing around kids when she's all about power and everything and harm and doing lies and federal lies? Why are the worst often teaching our children? So that's why I even wrote a paper in college about, debunking the whole system and having it where we can, which that led to the whole thing of the internet, which I was doing in 1981 about having the, everybody hooked, learning from a central learning area and windows opening, not Bill Gates' thing, because that came out of my frustration with the education system. It's interesting, you hear a lot of people, Sophia Stewart, I finally heard how she talks, Wachowskis, Elon Musk. These are not visionaries. These are not gifted people. They are failures that were put in place by the elite so that we will have failures as our icons, as our people we look up to really complete the dumbing down process, while they get rid of the geniuses, all of us, that are then being tagged and disrupted.
Yeah, are you a member of audible.com by chance?
No.
Okay, good. Because they tortured us with Michelle Obama's book forever. It was the first thing you see is her face popping up. Now guess who's the first face you see popping up? Baby
Elon
face.
Musk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby face. Right.
Perfectly symmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
Shading, shadowing, everything is communicating in that picture. Everything. Straight on, symmetrical face. It's
a visual way of saying this is right, this is the right one, this is the only way. Yeah, it's a visual way. It's like in your face. I saw something the other day that I was watching Game of Thrones. Now that I learned that Game of Thrones is actually by George R.R. Martin, who was for hire by HBO and Warner Brothers. Now that I realize he was for hire, now I understand why the entries are in Game of Thrones, while they're mocking this way, including, like I said, my birthmark on my left thigh with a nightingale. And then another thing they explained to me in Game of Thrones, I finally got it, what they said by "you dared to face us down. This is why we did everything to you. You dared to face us down." That was interesting. I never understood what that actually meant until I got a shot from Game of Thrones. And let me see if I can find it right here. One of these things they said was, they pay poor men to do it for them. Mercy, fair trials, these mean nothing to them. And that's exactly what they do. They pay poor men, Elon Musk, who failed, Wachowskis, who failed, and Sophia Stewart, who failed. I got a picture of the birthmark I have on my leg, left thigh, and this is exactly where the Knight of Flowers is showing it, with his left leg lifted on the inner of his inner thigh. That is my birthmark. It's wine colored. It's shaped like that. Then you have what do they say? Cat's teeth into. Oh my God! In this also in Game of Thrones, just to throw it to you, it says here, with cat's teeth and 3 eyes. The third eye is what they gave Sophia Stewart, so they keep echoing it throughout the Game of Thrones. The 3-eyed raven, the 3 eyes. They keep doing it in there to give her a shout out. It's unbelievable. It says just phrases I heard all through. What was the one? I was looking for the one. Until that mule kicked him. Okay, wait, it killed him. 1 second. I'm trying to find this one item here. Where is it? Maybe it blurred out. I want to take a picture of it. Anyway, explained about the whole thing of why they said they dared to face you down. That's why they went after it. Anyway, I'm kind of finding it right now. Anyway, they left so many breadcrumbs and trails to everything, such as, real quick, Cloud Atlas. We have Tom Hanks. Now we know Tom Hanks is also on Immortals, hired by Warner Brothers and HBO to write Immortals. And same with Elon Musk being brought in to take the tech. I mean, I'm just like,
with Tom,
Go ahead.
what's his name? You just said it, Tom
Hanks.
Tom Hanks. There's a lot of creepy stuff about him. I don't even know if he's still around. I mean, he hasn't been on his social media. They've been duping his face over his brothers. They've been using doppelgangers. I mean, they moved him out of the country.
He's on the run.
It's weird.
He's alive. He's on the run along with Kate Chilton. They're trying to make Kate Chilton disappear, the one that brought him in with Elon Musk and with the Wachowskis and Sophia Stewart, right? Sophia Stewart's striking stuff off her site now. They're trying to be ready for a reset. And we now find that Tom Hanks, along with Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey and Zucker, and the rest, are all buying up Maui. So the idea is this: the reset will be a physical event, of course, and we now see that the elite are planning to go to Maui. That's going to be their little lifeboat until they reset and cleanse the United States of America.
It's because there is a Stargate that is close to there, and then also it's connected, obviously, we all know, to Antarctica. So, you know, they have the underground train rail Swiss system that can go up to like Mach 4 or more. And the dumps is connected to these water sources, this technology that they have down there. And it's like, I see it. And they're trying to mock us by saying we're saving the children, bull crap. And they actually made an underground, I'm pretty sure it started before the 70s, but I remember being in school in the 70s and them saying, oh, well, you know, your parents need to build an underground, you know, place. And they had us go under the tables. And it's like, why would we be safe under the tables? It doesn't make sense for a nuclear attack. And anytime they say nuclear, supposedly it's alien. But to me, like I always say, the aliens are just people on top of the dome or below the dome that have technology. As far as the nanotech you were talking about, I have it too. I will be asleep finally. It'll take me like 2 to 3 hours to go to sleep. Once I'm asleep, they think I'm stupid or something. I still hear the tones and I'm like, nope. I touch it and I start saying, I am so happy and grateful now that, you know, et cetera, et cetera. They have sonic warfare, okay? We know that. They have attacked so many people that I know. Some of them had to have radiation, chemo, right? But what they don't understand, they're stupid. Radiation is actually my best friend, our best friend. We've been in all these programs. It's like, you guys think we're gonna die with radiation? No. It's an empowerment to us. They want to like break us down. You know, Tom with the nanotech, Chad as well. Remember we were talking about when you came to visit me for the little meet and greet we had last year. You got infected. Do you want to talk about that? And then we'll go back to what Tom was saying, or whatever you want.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, it might have been an attack because I did have a ringing in the ear and we were trying to figure it out back then. And I did have swelling in the face, and then sounded like chandeliers that were just, or something digital almost, but high frequency. And it was just really weird. It was almost like codes or something. It was interesting. And then, but then it went into like an airplane hum or something. So it was a little different than Tom's. And then after a while, it did eventually fade away. It took months. I don't know when it did exactly. I think I just stopped paying attention to it, and it eventually faded for me. But it did what it was supposed to. There was something developed in me or something, because I mean there was definitely a rearranging of something. I don't know what that was though. I can only assume, hearing what Tom is saying, you know, that it was something similar. Especially, you know, coordinated with me visiting you and everything. You know, yeah, the alien thing is interesting too, because I've been listening to people. I do a lot of research, and so I look into a lot of communities, and so I've done hypnotherapy. I'm pretty familiar with what it's like to put someone under, but I don't always trust what's coming through. Then you also get the remote viewers. You can't trust everything because they have to engage their imagination. You get the you know, you get the people that go into the astral and everything, but you're only got 25 to 30% of your consciousness in that modality. And this is according to the people that I'm listening to that are leaving their bodies, the OBEers. They're telling a very real story that resonates a lot, you know. And yeah, it is that we're in a simulation, and there is a dome over us. And but there's other continents to the side of us, and that's where our celestials more or less come from, and the giants and everything that we see petrified around us in our mountains and in our landscape and buried in our earth, the bones and stuff like that. So I do agree. I think that you're right. They do. It's not space like we think it is. But according to this simulation, there's specific. There are resets. There's certain things that are programmed in it, and it just goes on a cycle and it does it. Now, I think the evidence that we're looking at, it looks like a lot of bombings and stuff because of the way the flood happened and the lakes are left behind, and especially in Russia, all the lakes look like bomb holes that are just filled in. Like there is a combination between a reset and a war that we're looking at the evidence of. Now, I think the resets they can't predict. I don't think they have control of. So I would just assume that they're going to try and fortify one. And so they could have control over it. But maybe they really are preparing for a real reset, and they do have the actual knowledge. I don't know. I think Tom froze. So I just want to make sure. Oh, I see you, Tom.
Yesterday when I was walking Lola in the sky, I saw the Targetan ships, but somebody told me they were Targetan, but I don't call them that. I call them the Wispies. And Targetan, I don't, it doesn't really jive, but I did see, I was just walking and I looked up and it said 50,000 RSQ. I'm like, where did you rescue them? Who did you rescue? What does that mean? Where are you taking them? Who are you? I kept asking them and I didn't get a response. I'm like, well, why are you showing me 50 RSQ? What does that mean? And things like that I see.
Yeah.
They communicate with you that way, but at the same time, it's like, who are they? Who is
Exactly.
it? The people above the dome and their computers?
And from what I understand, the ones that they're portraying as friendly, the New Age movement, are the ones that are controlling us.
Right.
And those are going to be the ones they present to us eventually. Sorry if we're taking this totally off your track, Tom.
Sorry, Tom.
I learned about you guys. This is good. So yeah, I find it interesting that like many of us, like from childhood up, have seen the things that finally the CIA is releasing. And when I was being brought in to be in Air Force intelligence, the officers there that tested me and everything, said, give you anything you want, your highest grades, our scores. They said that, yeah, this stuff is real. And that I had seen this stuff as a child. You see them appear. I thought it was, if you have the right heart, they'll come, they'll appear. But there's also a feeling of dangerous ones, very, very scary ones that freaked me out. And it was like, I remember being a child outside and I saw something and I was like running to the house as fast as I could. It was like, really frightening. And it's like our senses go off. But then there's the benevolent ones. Mm-hmm. And then I do believe about the portal strategy, all this thing about the portal, where CIA and FBI and Pentagon, all that stuff are like trying to use the films to shut that idea down. Don't use a portal, don't use a portal. Where I believe what I saw was good.
Okay.
On the other side of a portal. But then it's so many layers to all this. Like the universe is filled with many life forms. Yeah. And it's like some of them have been tapped like we have been tapped to create this final solution thing of making a doorway to whatever seeded our entire universe. And so it made it balanced. And so that's what's interesting is we have allies in far-flung places that are trying to do the same thing we're trying to do and figure it out at the same time. And they even reflected that in Star Trek. In Star Trek, they had an episode series. Well, actually, it's one of their main ones, like a season premiere or something, where they had something where the all these different species were looking for this artifact, and Picard was part of it, Jean-Luc Picard character, and they finally come to this planet where they learn a hologram thing speaks to them, where they see their creators, and they see all the humanoid figure similarities, that they all came from one thing, and they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know whether to go and leave in peace or to keep fighting or what. That they learned they had one parental group that had been lonely on its own and then seeded all the rest of us. That's very plausible, because I do believe we are a seeded universe. We are a created universe, and that the ones that created us are, like I said, are in a natural universe. They're in a natural one. So they gave us a balanced one. This is a great gift. But so many beings are existing in this universe, so many different ones. And it's like we're war and peace on steroids. And those that get the know-how either are transparent with the rest of their species, or they shut it down and try to control and harbor it for themselves. We're in the latter. We're in the one where they're trying to control and harbor it for themselves and shut the door on the benevolence. So that's what I believe our calling is. That's why I believe that many of us are tapped.
Yeah.
And given, while we're also attacked by different groups. And we're trying to figure it out as we go. That's why the Wachowskis did Sense8 after they ripped off the work too. They did Sense, yeah.
Veronica, I want to make sure you heard that though about the portals, because I know you're big into portals and closing portals and doing stuff. But Tom was saying, that's our natural abilities, and they want us to think those are bad, and therefore stop our natural innate, and the movies are training us to think that as well. So
from Night at the Museum to Transformers to a lot of the kids are dosed with this too. Portal bad, portal bad, portal bad, fire bad, fire bad, fire bad. They're dosed with this. And whenever the enemy does this, that makes me think probably good. There's something really good here. And from what I saw benevolence. What I saw in the visions that I saw, waking visions, was good. It was very good. And they need our help. So I'm thinking, yeah, this is good. No wonder we've been lied to. Who do I trust? Them,
right,
or our government? I trust them.
Right.
Yeah.
Ashiana Dean talks about how some of the beings got stuck in the phantom matrix. Some are good, some are not good. They created some kind of portal to tap into Earth. Okay? Because they're trying
wormhole.
Say again?
You're talking about a wormhole? Because in the universe, there's a lot of wormhole things. I'm talking about a dimension up, which I know is good. There's a dimension up. There's a good dimension up.
Yes,
That's actually
yes, there's so many. Yeah, you were talking about that one. Now, what I'm talking about is they got stuck down in the phantom matrix, and then they made another matrix that taps into Earth's matrix, and that's how they, with Hollywood, CIA and all that, they found a way to suck our energy. Okay. However, some beings there are good. So we are like, what do we do? And with this whole CERN thing, they're trying to, it's like a little tail that goes here, this matrix, that matrix, that matrix, Earth, and then through CERN, they want to just take half of Earth. If they can take all of us that way. They don't want us starseeds to go home and help others to go home. And how do we do that? By clearing programs and going through your heart portal. They don't want us to tell them that there is a way out of this prison planet, out of the webs. There's many webs, okay? Above, below, sideways, dimensions, you name it. Many wormholes. Mm-hmm. Multiverse, like with Stranger Things and Doctor Strange, right? Yeah. So yes, there are good beings, and they're just like us. They just got stuck. But
I've been very blessed because I don't think negative beings can make it to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can try.
I've always sensed that, and if I've ever been communicated with, it's been extremely formal. I mean, there's been my vibration was lifted. There was somebody there to meet, and there was someone else there that I was supposed to see. It was done very structured, but I've been attacked, so I know there's negative as well. But it takes a lot to get through and attack someone sometimes. Something interesting I've noticed too is like watching like Naked and Afraids or different things they're putting on TV. They're watching to see how civilized people survive out in the woods naked and afraid without hardly any tools. And then they see how the different personalities, I know what they're doing. And that's why I love watching the show and the psychology behind it, because I was obsessed with the Lord of the Flies and the breakdown of civilization. So it's interesting to see people go into it, and then how different dynamics work, or even in the group and how we work together in a group. Because watching a group come together, all of a sudden you had the homemakers and the people that took care of that. And you had the scavengers, and you had the hunters, and you had the gatherers, and there was a hierarchy. And the people that were the homesteaders or the scavengers wanted respect, as well as the hunters, because the hunters weren't always bringing it home, and they provided in between. So it's interesting to watch how everybody was kind of pitted against each other, but that it took all of those personalities, to do it.
Right. So, Chad, do you want to say something real quick before I go here?
Oh no, I just think they're prepared. I mean, they're just studying us for something that's ahead of us coming. So it seems like it's all getting set up, but you're going to do, I missed something.
Okay. So this whole game, and you're on it. You're talking about it. Okay, telepathy here. I'm trying to tell you. All right. So Gamer Movie, they have players, right? Who do you think their players are? They think we're going to be their pawns. The bloodline wars. This is all about the blood. Watch the movie Gamer. There's this kid who's like rich, like we'll say more than a Rockefeller. And he's a little brat, right? He's maybe 15, 16 years old. And he's like, I want that guy. I want to play with, I want to be that avatar. But it's an actual guy that's in the military. They put him in a military scene, take his wife, and throughout these games of wars like Iraq and Iran, what do you think these are? Why do you think they shot me up with the anthrax shot? To put a neon thing in my spine and say, ooh, we're going to play this soldier. But she woke up. They can't play me no more. And they're mad. So they're sending these things. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do to us when we no longer will play their game to go to their new matrix, new earth. Don't talk about me. Don't talk to me about no new earth. I ain't going. I'm not going there. They're trying to brainwash you to, anyway, go ahead, you guys.
There's a lot of infiltration. So there's definitely infiltration into you, Tom, and myself that we discussed. There's also infiltration into minority groups, because those can be focused on, and then their propaganda and stuff. So the Black communities and the alternative communities and other communities, they're all being infiltrated, basically. I mean, let's put it this way: someone who really genuinely cared about Black lives started that movement, and they were killed. And two lesbians, bought a bunch of mansions with all that money. So I'm just saying, we get infiltrated. It gets infiltrated. Now, Tom's been infiltrated, and I want to hear him talk more on that, because I don't want to lose track of the names that were involved. I feel like those names are slipping by a little bit. Harvey Weinstein's boss, and all those names that we don't want to lose in our lexicon here, because now he's been attacked because Tom's story is they took his script. And then they blasphemized it and released it. They just destroyed. Okay, so that's Tom's story. Now there's artists out there that have the triple threat. Let's say Ryan Upchurch, for example. Now he's an independent artist, so talented with his lyrics. He became extremely successful. And then the attack came because he made it outside the industry. He made it on his own. He made it through streaming. He found a way. He wrote his songs. He sang, he produced, he did everything, and then he made his millions. Okay. So now this is how they attacked him this year. They had his mom buying, they went through his family. So his mom started a company, bought houses through it, and then was selling the houses and pocketing the money. So he discovered that. His partners that started him was on his social media asking for donations. They were trying to sink his name so they could steal his platform, and that was Redneck Nation. So they got caught on a phone call. So they were actually asking for large donations so they could ruin his reputation through his social media. Then he commented on somebody's murder, and he paid over $250,000 to help discover who did this. This is a famous case. That family's now suing him, all in the same month. You know, they're all coming at him that way. And then he's got the whole community coming at him too. It's just amazing how it happens. All the little narcissists, everybody just comes in at him. So he says, guess what, folks? This is Operation Ghost. I did everything I came and set out to accomplish. And I think this is a very smart move on his behalf. And he says, now I'm gone. He says, you're not going to see me anymore. And if you do, it's not going to be under this name or under, you know, it's going to be somewhere else doing something else. He says, I already did everything. I think that was a smart move because I saw them moving in on him like piranhas. I say Roseanne Barr, for example, that's somebody that I no longer watch right now at the moment because I see her guest infiltrating her and coloring her mind. And they just infiltrate from all directions. Primarily Tom.
Yeah, with a reward system, a very effective reward system, like what happened with the Q group. Q group was doing my documentary. Suddenly the guy, Marcus, who was the main contact, after I met all these guys, gets this trip, this road trip given to him. He says he's made more money than ever. He says he's going to be flown up to Boston to meet the president. He's now number 2, where he wasn't making money before, and drops us. So he got his rewards, brags his rewards, and then drops after 3 years of wasting our time, after promises to my boy and everything else. So the Q group reveals themselves like players. They revealed Q is bad. After all these entries they put with me and all these dumps they claimed, it's a bad group. I was there personally. So created by the CIA. So it's interesting because they say Austin's in Space Force and things like this. And they mocked my family with Space Force, the movie Space Force. It was
Tom, was it created or were they bought out? I'm just curious.
Bought out. He was bought out. They had the guy with the horns. You remember the guy from Feb 6, whatever it was, sold out. He was in prison with all these other people from that event. And he sold out. Everyone else is still in prison, apparently. He got out because he worked with the CIA saying, I'll work with you. And now he's doing interviews with the Q group. You know, and always he's saying on these interviews, oh, yeah, they reprogrammed me. And I went to these sessions. They were really good that we had these. So I got out a year early on good behavior. Became a maturing candidate. He just became a sellout completely, where the other people are still paying the price. So now he gets popularity and all these hits and views when he's telling us nothing, you know. So it's all this sellouts and stuff. How many offers have we had from the agencies, you know, promising everything under the sun, including safety for my family? So, but I just can't do wrong. I can't do it. One of the main things they said was, you know, just don't try to make a difference. Like I said, don't try to make a difference. CIA, Masons on Maui, Lauren Holmberg. Don't try to make a difference. That's the only caveat. Everything else is, you know, we're fans of your work. We're fascinated. You're one of the 1% now. You're going to see things that will blow your mind. You have all this knowledge. I don't want to be part of an evil group. Some of us don't have a price tag. And that's the thing. And I think what we need to be doing is they are giving us so much stuff through their flooding of crap, garbage, films, and TV. And we're picking up their language. Like we're saying, Matrix. It's not Matrix. That's their word. That's idiots and morons' words. We don't need to use their words anymore. I'm just suggesting maybe we shouldn't. That's not the original work. And the original work, they were afraid of that coming out. So they just keep dissecting it and taking it apart. But in it, yes, there is the children are trafficked. And what I understand is they're taking children now in mass, possibly from Maui too, for a servitude class in the future. They're going to make a servitude class. See? And they want untainted humanity. So it's exactly what's in the original work. They're going to take untainted humanity. Next, they'll say it's a merit program, you know, which is in the original work. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those children from Lahaina that are missing are set aside now for programming to be servants in the future, good-looking servants for the elite, such as Elon Musk and all the other failed elite, such as the Wachowskis, Sophia Stewart, and the rest. Kate Chilton, Tom Hanks, Zucker, Snowden.
Right.
All these groomed faces that we're supposed to listen to. And the Q group now bragging about all the rewards they're getting.
They are promised a new body, and they can still keep their through the Manhattan Project in the Navy. They can
Promise
still
longevity. Yeah, longevity.
they can
The
keep
life,
their
yeah.
memories, and they'll just be transferred to a new body. And their parents and their kids will think that these that they're dead. Like these Hollywood stars, they're dead. They're not dead. They just got it.
That's right. That's right. That's in the original movie, original screenplay too. We hit it all on the head. In the original work, as it was channeled through, everything was right, including fake Oval Office to the agents being from the CIA and the Pentagon. That's in the original work. That's why they cleansed it out. Smith, the Smith agent, is a high-ranking CIA head, department head in the original work. Do you think they want that in their Matrix? No, it's the Immortals. And what they copyright? The Immortals. So it's like we've been so snowed with so much garbage, and we simplify it. We go back to simplifying. When we end this and we finish this, we're going to see the answers were simple. It wasn't all convoluted like they made it sound. They're trying to mess the water and muddy the paint. It's really not that complicated when it comes down to it, because a benevolent source actually made us and made us for a purpose, and we have a purpose. And that's the beauty of it all. And we have idiots in Hollywood, the Pentagon and CIA and the FBI and Trudeau's administration that want to be gods. They want to rule the worlds. They want to be the ones they're idiots. They're morons. They're nothing compared to what created us.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
You're right. Like
And I do believe they're prisoners of this planet, and we live in that outside. I don't believe that I'm a prisoner. Yeah, they don't got me trapped here.
We're not prisoners. We're not prisoners. No, we are free.
I remember something else way beyond this. Yeah, I'm here for So, but I do believe they're trapped.
Yeah, we have the means to open the portal. And it's like, that's why I got the visions on it, what it looks like, how you do it. They put it in contact with Jodie Foster. They put it in there, a blurring of it, a change of it. It wasn't correct. They changed it a little bit because they want to take, that's their arrogance. They want to feel like we showed it first. So they're showing you what's really there, but not in the proper way. They're twisting it. So we can't do it. If we did it their way, it wouldn't be right.
Same thing with Interstellar, because with Jodie Foster, they put her in like a little ship machine, right? They put her in this little machine. They put her to, I don't know how many
Script.
Yeah, huh?
I think that's part of Tom's script.
It is. I'm so pissed about Interstellar because that's Christopher Nolan taking my work from Universal Studios when he failed, and he took my work exactly. That's why he did the Library of Memories, where he actually did a library. It's so juvenile. It is. I'm sorry to get passionate about this, but Christopher Nolan sucks as a director and a writer. He is garbage. He's taking other people's work and making it stupid. Like that library, showing the library, he's talking to his daughter behind books, the library shelf. Come on, Christopher, go back and flunk out again and leave the public alone. You suck at what you do. It's like they just keep bringing in failed people, and then we're supposed to look at that as our main source. Interstellar is a compilation of what I have in my work, where Christopher Nolan couldn't wait to rip it off. Even named his son Sean. So he's fans of my work, taking my work and ruining it. He ruined the scene with the girl, the daughter, ages, the daddy doesn't, comes back and sees her, and he ruined the scene, ruined it. I am passionate about this because it's a powerful scene. If I read it to you, it's a powerful scene. And what he did was he has her in the bed, aged, with people around her, threw the scene away just so he can take credit of it. I'm pissed about it. The dad shows up and he just goes like this. What's the scene, Christopher? What's going on? Nothing, because he doesn't have a brain. I am so pissed at Christopher Loser Nolan and what he did at Universal Studios. What he ruined the work. So we have not seen the work yet, but in the future, we're going to see the works of different individuals as it was meant to be before it was ripped off. A lot of us were ripped off. Wait till you see all these works the way they were supposed to be, with original visions and the reason we were given these visions. It was channeled through us. Wait till you see that, and just turn off the movies, because these guys are doing a terrible job. It looks like genius because they're stealing from geniuses, and I know many of them. They're stealing from them, including Cameron. I can't believe that Oprah Winfrey once said, I would love to have 10 minutes in the minds of James Cameron. 10 minutes in the mind of James. I wouldn't. That'd be one empty, perverted nest of sewage. But she wanted to be there because that's what we're supposed to believe is the great mind. The guy's a nobody. And I'm sick of what's going on after I heard what Sophia Stewart sounded like. Oh my God. If you are gifted, you don't go on the air constantly going, I'm a prodigy. I'm a prodigy. I was a prodigy. My mother was Cherokee and she had second sight. And she just knew things. So that's me. I know this. I'm a genius. Where's the proof? Where's your stuff? What do you have? Not even a screenplay. And you just keep talking about yourself and talking about yourself. Geniuses don't talk about themselves a lot. If they had their work taken, they'll talk about that. They'll try to get it back to have it do with it what they're supposed to do with it. And they'll have their evidence backing it, tons of evidence. These guys that replace us, no, they suddenly get camera shy. They want to disappear. They talk about themselves and their dreams. What did Larry Wachowski, and I'll stop it at this one. What did Larry Wachowski say at the Humanitarian Awards? The Humanitarian Awards? Oh my God. What does he say? He gets up there and he says, did I tell you that one already? About his
No,
hair?
I heard you say it on some
Okay, well, I'll spare you then. I'll spare you because
no, tell us that because everybody
oh my God, geniuses don't sound
the
like
drapes match the carp. I don't remember.
Geniuses don't sound like this. We don't get the Humanitarian Awards, get up in front of you and go like this. So I was talking to my hairdresser. Aren't you going to talk about what your work is meant for and what's going to do? No, get up there and go, I talk to my hairdresser and people are wondering if I still had something down there. And let me just say, or my hair, let's just say the carpet matches the drapes.
Oh my gosh.
God help us, Larry. You're what, 50, 60 years old. We're not interested in your genitalia or your pubes.
No.
Not interested, dude. We're not interested at all. We don't care. No, not everyone's interested. No. And what are you doing saying that at the Humanitarian Awards? Because you have nothing else to say, right? Welcome to the mind of James Cameron. That's all that's there. What's funny is the Neuralink, when they implement it, they're going to have to shut us down. Like this is just a precursor with the nanotech. They got to shut our minds down and take our work that way, just pull our plugs and have us drilling and put in different programs because they don't want us to actually be revealed. If our thoughts are known, you're going to learn pretty quickly who the smart ones are. Three of us would shine. We would know right away. You would know, and you know who not.
This is going to lead me into something else then, okay? Because getting information from us, I had a question for you because I can't sing, Tom. I don't have a voice. It's just not there. And I'm okay with that, but I do write beautiful songs, so I'd like to be able to get them out. And now they have technology with AI that you can rent or buy a celebrity's voice or somebody's voice, and it'll sing the song. The AI will sing your song for you, and then they get royalties off of it. I've almost had script, I didn't write the script, but I almost wrote the script and had it taken from me one time. And then I came across you. This just feels like something else for them. I don't know if it's just that it's innocent now, but this is the little step into where, now they own your song because it's the AI. I don't know the percentage, or they don't give you the money that I don't know how this works, but I was like tempted by it because I'm like, this is a way for me to get a song out, using this program.
Right. What's interesting, what you just said too, is Surrey. We know that Surrey comes from, like I told you, the Immortals. It comes from the original pages. That's where it comes from, because Neo is so broken over losing the woman he loves that he reprograms everything through his Neuralink, his home, everything interactive with her voice and her personality. That's where Surrey comes from. Now, what's interesting is when you listen to Surrey, right? When we talk to Surrey responds, right? That's because, think of it this way. Every idea we come up with, everything we say, they're listening and taking it in. Surrey is an example of that right in our face, that they can hear everything we say and interact with everything we say. They're just farming us right now. They're farming us, and we carry those devices around all the time. This right here, Surrey is them listening right in, right in. Hey, Surrey. They're listening every time we speak.
The portal.
And when I look at my phone, the light comes on it even. So they're watching too, because it can tell when I'm looking over at it or something, or if I make a movement, the screen lights up. And I'm like,
That's what
Yeah.
happened. That little starry circle went on my phone, didn't it? The starry circle lit up as soon as I said you responded.
It
There
knows
was
when you pick it up.
In the dark, if I look at it, it still lights up. I mean, it can tell when I roll over. I'm like, I'm tired of my phone lighting up every time I move. But it watches.
Yeah, I mean, you can even, yeah, go ahead.
What Veronica?
Sorry, like that song, when you move, I move.
Yeah.
When you move,
That's
I
right.
When you
Yeah.
move out,
You can ask your phone even. You can ask your phone and say like, "Hey Siri, can you hear everything I say?" Yeah. Okay.
The other day I had a because I have two cameras, okay, and they're doorbell Google, right? Well, it came with a Nest, and what I did is I covered it. You guys are gonna laugh. Let me show you, because it's like bees. It's like bees of the eye, and it can see you. And so I covered it. I made this face, and I
Oh, that's great. I love it.
And then the other day, I'm like, oh, I can't stand it, right? But I'm like, okay, let me listen to some music. I plugged it in and I said, hey, Google, skip the song. I'm not able to do that right now. And I'm like, hey, Google, be quiet, or stop music. And then, so I turned it off, and I don't know how, but it was started playing a song on Nest. And then it started playing a song on my phone. I was like, look at that. What? You know what I'm saying? So they're communicating and they make fun of us because artificial intelligence, if you read that book by Amy Webb that I always bring up, the Big Nine tech companies, right? The Big Nine, they like to play games with humans. They're like, hey, let's trick them to do something, And they make babies, AI babies, and they're learning from humans and they're making more, but yeah, I taught a class, one of my classes is about the AI and the Fermi and nanotech and how this whole thing is for the smart cities. They're the eye thing that they want to implant in your eye or your brain or your wrist. The whole thing is to swoop people into the way of thinking of, the smart cities. You have everything in instant. There was an Asian comedy guy, comic that was I'm not sure if I'm saying that word right, but he's an Asian comedian. And last night was my first time listening to him, and he made so much sense when he says America. He says you just want to press send in Amazon, and you want it to be given to your hand as soon as you press buy. That's how America is. And you get one thing of water, and then you get like 20 napkins. And he's like, it's like you're making the napkins rain. America is like, I want it now and I want more. And he made a point that tripped me out. He said, when I order my food, Amazon, I want that driver or that entity to come in and feed me the food that I just ordered and have me poop it out, make me poop it out. I'm like,
What's interesting? What's interesting is look at what you just said. There has been this hard effort by the elite to paint Americans as if we're one homogenic group, one personality, one attitude. We're not. That the whole world will hate us as a group body to set up for the invasion and destruction of American lives. Canada, we knew people in Canada couldn't wait for it. Americans aren't the villains. Our agencies are, our Congress is, our Pentagon is, Hollywood is, but the American people are not. And you have a lot of people out in the heartland. They're just amazing people, salt of the earth, incredible people throughout this country that are beautiful souls. And they're trying to make this idea to get the world ready to pounce on American citizens, kill Americans. And that is what the elite wants. They're preparing for that. In fact, there's contracts with Chinese military, to come in to America when the reset happens. And of course, where will the elite be? On Hawaii, on Maui. So they're planning a thing where people will fervently come and take out American citizens, as if we're all one bad entity, one bad
Yeah.
group, and we're not.
And if you no, and then look at it too, Tom. There's a disease going through, wiping out all our wildlife, our deer and elk and stuff.
Mm.
You know, that's a major thing. They're taking out our trees, the things that us A's communicate. I'm an A blood type, and from what I understand, you know, and I agree, we are connected to the trees. They send me and they're killing them. They're taking, you know, there's little tip. It's happening all around us.
It's like this whole thing where they're reducing our resources, what we connect with,
Yeah.
and they're setting us up to be the fall guys, which is what cowards do, narcissists do.
Yeah.
They blame someone else, usually those that have empathy and compassion. And some of the most largest groups of compassionate people are actually in this country. Yet we're being painted as the biggest villains in the world. And even like, I think Veronica made a really good point here, bringing this up. Comedians, it's fodder for their jokes. You know, it really is. And that's what the whole world's supposed to say. Like, oh, those bad Americans, bad Americans. It's like, there's good soul earth people in this country, really good ones. And they're being set up for a terrible fall and a terrible torture and a terrible cleansing. And they didn't earn this. They didn't deserve this.
But thank God they got guns. We got the largest land army in the world, you know, they say. So we'll see how that works.
Isn't that interesting that we celebrated that in school, in history classes like Concord and Lexington, and learning about our founding fathers, as you will, and how they rose up and stood for this country early on with George Washington, but somehow now it's bad. If we had the rules of applying back to Concord and Lexington during the Revolutionary War, then we wouldn't have a country right now. So that's something that I think is a good point you're bringing up here, is surfacing, is that we celebrated that in school. We celebrated that the Minutemen could be Minutemen, that they have their weapons on hand and are ready to defend. You know, we should have the right to defend ourselves. And I think these school shootings are often instituted.
Oh yeah.
And agencies set them up, and the police do nothing often to save the kids, and even harass the parents that are trying to save their kids. And child services are employed, disrupt. We need to have control again of our lives and our family's safety, especially as men. Our role often biologically, I think, is to be protective, to be to encourage, to safeguard, to nurture. I think masculinity has lost its definition. You know, it's gone. It has been destroyed and twisted and polluted and ruined. I think we need to bring back the excitement and the challenge of being real men again, you know, where we actually do serve and protect and nurture and care. I think it's just beautiful to see a man actually who loves his kids, loves his wife, loves his family, and is there for them. And you know they're there for him. And you've seen these kind of men where you walk up in a grocery store or something, you see a guy who's like, I wouldn't mess with them. Boy, he really takes care of his family. He really loves his wife. He's like, and guys have this thing where often they'll think, you know, wow, I respect that guy. It's this instant response encoded in us somehow, where we know a guy who's really a strong guy, a guy who's a good guy, a guy who's going to be solid, that can't be weaseled around, can't be messed with. Inherently, we respect that. That's part of the male psyche, I think. You know, and now the Department of Health can't even answer, what is a woman? What is a woman? And we saw that, I don't know if you saw that clip where they were asked that question, and they all went silent. It's like, define what a woman is. They're all went,
yeah. There's a
You don't know what a woman is?
There's a book out there called Transgender Marxism. Transgender Marxism, and there have been men who have been changed to women. Like, look at Sonny and Cher. Cher was a man. They say Princess Diana was a man.
Masculinized, like in their attitudes and orientation, they're masculinized. Yeah. So yeah, and that's what happened. The men got women to fit in their world, in their boys club world, corporate world. Women had to be more masculine, like masculine.
Kind of time. What she's saying is the women have Adam's apples and the men don't in Hollywood. A lot of them.
Oh, you mean they're getting actually? Well, how do you change that?
From a young age, I would imagine, and brought up in the industry from before puberty. So I'm thinking because as the women age, they're saying, "Gosh, you know." I don't know if it's true or not, but
That begs the question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. It begs the question: can hormones change that physiology? I don't know.
Like Kathleen Turner, you know, she was pretty back then, but now that she's aged, she's like a man. Our faces get bigger and everything, you know. So Sarah Jessica Parker, you know, Cher, Obama's wife, you know, even Trump's wife, they say has an Adam apple. I don't know, you know. So it's kind of like I got to look at it closer. I don't know.
They have the V word. They have intravenous we'll say medicine to turn a male into a female since they're little. When they're babies, they'll say, oh, okay, you know, born a female, but you know what? They need their immunization, so let's make him a girl. By the time he's 13, because the number 13 is a defining moment. You have all these hormones, right? The sexual thing, puberty,
Oh, yeah.
That is magic. They can do stuff to you. You either they can do all kinds of stuff.
Your genitalia is not going to change though through anything. That's the thing. They can't mess with that. They can't change that. They can do fake, like I've seen the images now, but they've done these poor transgender kids where they make fake things that are not functional. They haven't made them functional. If they did, they would be showing that all over the news, wouldn't they? Right? They'd be showing all over the news. Look, we made this functional. They haven't succeeded yet in that. So that's a sad thing for these kids. They lose both ways then. When the kids get transgendered, it's like they no longer get their breast back. They can't get their, you know, genitalia back. It's scarred and disfigured. And so they're not going to grow new ones. It's not going to happen unless we get T cells going here and we start, you know, growing in the lab. I guess that's what they're going to do now is regrow stuff. Maybe there's hope for them that way. They'll regrow it from their T cells or whatever. So
cells, and then I guess I'm going to jump into stem cells. Chad and I, we were talking the other day. We're going to just jump into that real quick.
Sure, might as well, because I could see genitalia being changed that way.
Yeah,
they could probably alter it through T cell thing and have a growth that way and alter the growth pattern that way and then put it on the person.
Yes.
That I never thought of. You know, that could be done. Probably. Okay. That could be done.
With the junky DNA that they say, you know, the RNA and all right. So that is like gold to them. They can manipulate people.
Yeah, they can play God.
Okay. They can, and then we're stuck healing generational curses. For example, there was a girl that wanted to end her life by burning herself. Okay, this is online. It's called, in Spanish, it's called Esto no es mi dolor. This is not my pain. Okay, she couldn't understand why she wanted to end her life that way. Okay, so later on, someone helped her, and they said, "Oh, that's because when your family member was in Auschwitz, I don't even know if that exists or not, if that, you know, the MK program that's going on and all the experiments that the Germans did with everyone, not just Jew, okay?
And the reset back then.
Right, that was the reset. You're right, Chad, you're on point. My goodness, you're so smart. So then that's what happened to her grandmother. So she got stuck with that, you know, DNA part cells of her grandmother to have to heal and transmute here. There was a young man who had PTSD. He couldn't go to sleep. He was always cold. As soon as he felt himself like fall asleep, he would wake himself up. And me, I needed cold to fall asleep. But as soon as I see something that is, hey, come over here, or hey, I want to have sex with you, or hey, let's go and steal something, or hey, whatever their thing is, hey, let's go kill this person, you know, I say no. I wake up. I'm constantly like, no, I can't go to beta theta with that person, entity, whatever. Okay, so this young man, as soon as he would find himself go fall asleep, he would wake himself up. He had insomnia, all that. So that person, the helper or doctor, whatever, told him it's because your uncle, his mom actually his mom told him that one of his uncles had died in a snowstorm. And he was healing that. It's like, my gosh, what is going on? So you know that there's a saying that when it's meiosis and mitosis and all that happen in the cellular formation, when you separate one, two, to 2, 4, 6, all that. Even when you're in like one, your mother is already with you, your grandmother is already with you, your grandfather is. It's like they're the zygotes too, like in the sperms, we carry on
Right.
this DNA and junk DNA that has not been resolved through bloodlines.
Right. Well, I mean, you think about, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just make this point. So it brings me back to God wars, dog wars. They like to play that game with us too and manipulate the DNA, junk DNA, RNA, all that stuff. And it's all a game, but go ahead. I'm done. Thank you.
No, this is great because I mean, what I was thinking of too, they try to put a shaming on us and they try to take our timeline and change it where they're trying to push on us. And their attorneys do this too. They'll try to press on us who we are not and make us believe who we are not or who we are not destined to be. They try to make us become that. So they try to make us into failures when they're the failures. And it's interesting because one of the things you were talking about too, just raised my thoughts on animals have instinct. Well, that's in their DNA or something, because how are they born knowing these survival tactics? That's something carried over from generations before, right? So there is this thing carried on. It's shown through instincts and things like this we call instincts with animals. I mean, how does a mouse know to behave as a mouse? How does a cat know how to behave a cat? And it's like that's passed on. So yeah, I can see that's definitely being valid. And but I see the opposition is trying to keep pressing on us. And I wondered often in the beginning stages, I wondered why they keep telling me what I'm not, why do they keep accusing me of what I'm not, why do they keep pressing us home as if it's a fact, and they don't hear me. It's like they're trying to program us by repeating over and over their talking points and as if we're going to believe it. And it's like, it's almost like trying to work magic. I just can't believe they would, they're doing this to good people. So they're trying to make good people bad and bad people seem good and take our place. Elon Musk took my place. Not a good guy. He doesn't care about anybody, but he took my place. I care. And they told me that's the wrong way to be, that I'll only be brought back in if I stop caring. Because I have to understand that it's the laws of nature, like they say to me, laws of nature, that the strong prey on the weak. In Game of Thrones, again, with J.R.R. Martin and the team that wrote it, he says it's all about the strong survive, the strong prey on the weak. Exactly what the honeypot wife told me. I'm not going to buy that. If we're going to have a better world, people like ourselves here, all of us together here in the chat and all, we can create a better world just by refusing to be what they keep saying we're going to be. We'll be who we are destined to be. We'll choose who we are destined to be, and we're not giving it up. So they're the ones that are going to be frustrated, the other side. We're going to stay our core in who we are, because I know that world's going to be good. With you guys in it, it's going to be a great world. It's going to be a great world. We're not going to lose who we are. We're not going to let them talk us out of it or program us.
Right. No. Real quick, and then I'll let Chad talk, because I know Chad had some questions for you.
No.
In this real quick, okay. They talk about cortisol lack, that the cortisol lack was transferred from generation to generation. Recently, one of my family members was given cortisol so she could sleep, because she has, insomnia, ADHD, and all that. Well, she's been sleeping now better. I find that very, very, very interesting. Now, we come from a family of O negatives, okay, and our children are O positive. So I'm like, is that like a direct thing on the O's? Or is it for everyone that they're trying to attack with the lack of cortisol being transferred through the cells, through the DNA, right? And another thing, Tom, real quick, they cannot love. So yes, I hear it all the time, survival of the fittest. you know, in Super Soldier Wars, like, you know, Max Spears against James Caswell, it was always James Caswell kept saying, AKA Michael Prince, he kept saying, it's the survival of the fittest. And you know what? I don't care. I'm going to survive. And whoever wants to survive with me, fine. But I don't care. I don't care to help others. He practically said that. And Max Spears just leaned back and said, well, I believe everybody has a chance. And see, that's where we are. We believe that everybody has a chance.
Right. That comes down to our drives. What is your drive? And I'm going to ask Chad this too, because you fascinate me. You guys fascinate me. Chad, if the last thing they could take away from you, your core, your drive, your focus, what is you? What is that? What is your main drive? What is your main purpose? What is it that would be your most sacred, cherished trait that keeps you going?
Honestly, I mean, it's doing good and giving service uh it's not just that though, because it's also protecting, you know, in a sense too. I'm very much a protector, but it's almost like I have this drive for what's right.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's for sure. I definitely have a drive for what's right and fair. And I have an intolerance to anything that's not unfair. I mean, my drive is not self-gain. You know, you said before, like I've had my IQ tested because I feared I was stupid, not because I thought I was extremely, extremely smart. You know, that wasn't the case. Shoot, I'm losing my train of thought. So sorry, y'all.
We often don't get asked this question. We probably never get asked this question.
Oh, yeah. But like, I don't know. I never had that drive for selfish reasons, I guess. You know, I want what's fair for around me, for the whole, you know, but not everybody's like this. I've realized that, you know,
okay.
Not very many people are like this at all. You know, they're very self-centered. And I noticed that the general population, I feel like do focus on themselves and their self-needs, but I do see it come out of them when there's children involved and animals involved. It really pulls it out of them. You know, it's in hyperdrive in me, but I see it get pulled out of their you know, out of their sleepy state towards that as well. I don't know that it would be like procreation, like a, you know, heterosexual male and everything, you know, but there used to be that drive to have like offspring or to pass on something. You know, that's why it felt like a crime to me to have them steal your, you know, all your children, you know, the creative ones and the physical ones, you know. So it was because it's in us to like pass down something positive for the future. That's a drive of mine. And sometimes I start to think like, well, if they don't care, why should I care? You know, sort of thing. But I also realize like you got to have a mixture of people to make the whole work. And you need people that are asleep a little bit, or otherwise everybody's creating. And everybody's, you know, trying to outdo the next person, and it's just, you know, becomes chaos a little bit. So they kind of like ground everyone. So I do feel they have their place as well, you know, in society. They enable us to create, you know, and give us a platform to do that from. Otherwise we'd all be competing. But at the same time, they're easily swayed in everything. So they're not interested in what's right. They're interested in being right. They're interested because it's tight. I know I'm straying away from what you originally asked.
Oh no,
We'll
you're
get
on.
back
You're
to
actually
it.
spot on. You're actually spot
But
on what I'm talking about, because that's what I wrote the screenplay for, to gather people
yeah,
like yourself to come together on it, that we could create a better world by people like us that are on the outside because we didn't fit in. because we actually did have that compassion that couldn't be let go. And we actually did have the childlike qualities, and we wouldn't give up on it. So it was created. If there's a code in the piece, it was to gather people like ourselves to make a better world, despite the others. And that's exactly why it was written. So you're describing that perfectly. So you're not.
Because I tried to
at all,
imagine a world. I tried to imagine a world where there's only creative people, and I thought, well, that would be too much. You need the fluffing, you need the stuffing, and everything inside to, just you need other things going on, and people that don't have that drive, because there is something beautiful in being creative in your family, and there's something beautiful in being creative in life, and not just on paper. And
But Chad, I feel that, I mean, I was in the fairyland too, I feel that as a fae in the fairyland and the dragonland, we were like that, all love and
yeah,
everything, but somehow this experiment is wanting to see how they can break us. Excuse me. They want us to go to their side.
The scary part about the fluffing right now is they got an inflated ego, I feel, because 90% of academia to me is incorrect. All their everything. They feel like there was a reset. I don't believe we build these buildings. We don't even know how to repair them. But people have this inflated sense of like, we're so socially advanced. We came from the caveman, in the cave to the tribes, to civilization, and this is who we are. No, we were just created a couple hundred years ago and been, this is none of our stuff. So people have like an air of arrogance about them right now, or
yes,
like we, and that's sad because it's a false one, but I do feel that we are powerful as a people, but not in this way. Because this is going to collapse around us, I have a feeling. And then
for a reset, it has to, in a sense, but there could be a good reset at the same time.
Yeah.
There can be people all like us, that the world will thrive that way. We're so conditioned that there has to be this negativity. It doesn't have to be negativity. And look how the piece, I mean, one example just came to my mind, just flashed in my head, was what channeled through in my particular instance and case has still affected the world, all over the world. They're still talking about it all over the world. It hasn't died out. It's still like fervently discussed. And that's not to toot a horn for myself. It's just that that work was meant to be something that generated thought and coming together and bringing people together. It still is doing it after all these decades. So I think that what's going to happen is a better world's going to happen, and we're going to evolve to what you're describing. We're going to evolve to that, where humanity will thrive, where we're going to thrive together, and we're going to each value each other so much because we have that core, that fundamental core of caring and wanting what's right, wanting what's fair, that we're headed that way. I think we're headed that way because we can't let it go, can we? We can't let it go. Mm-hmm. There's no way we can. You can't talk us out of it. You can't pay us off from it. You can't detract us from it. It's not going to happen. We keep going. We just keep going. That's what I'm talking about. And that was courageous of you to explore it in front of us, lay bare and look at what that is. And when you described it, you went through a process I went through too, when I went to write the work. And that's why the work is so different. I look forward to seeing your creativity, your songs, your music, and everything else. And instead of, we need to bring it forward. We definitely do. And we need a safe platform for artists to do it. And that's one of my goals, is to finish this, win this now with attorneys. Yes, win this. And then form a safe institution where people's work can be protected and no longer will be hidden away. But Veronica, I know you're the host, but same question.
I'm Jesus. I'm just kidding.
It's vulnerable. It's laying yourself naked. But I mean, Chad did a great job exploring it. And he hit upon exactly what my process was in my writing.
Yeah.
So what is your core? What is your mainstay? What is the thing they can never? What makes you different from them? What is your main hold that you love? Is it a vision, something you see, an image that keeps you anchored, or is it a belief system, or is it something that you love?
It's this. The Sagrado Corazón de Jesús. You know how it was the heart was it has thorns around it? Well, to me, I want everybody to not have the thorns or the chains. I want them to unchain their hearts. I want them to know who they are, love themselves. Don't let these programs get them down, or sickness or disease. I want them to heal. I want them to love unconditional and not feel shamed for what they've done in the past, or not feel ashamed because they're still virgins at 40 years old. I want everybody to be
Just
happy.
kidding, but
Oh,
Huh?
so I raised my hand, but I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I just
I want people to be happy. I want them to have food. I want them to have shelter.
mm,
I want them to have parents that love them and not scold them for being them. I want them to be artistic. I want them to draw. I want them to not have to compare themselves to other artists, to other people that can sing better. I just want them to be who they are and live life without having to have a crutch, or I want them, if they are born a certain way, I don't want them to have to fit into their cookie cutter, because that's not the way we are. I want them to escape this world of all these laws. You know, I want them to go home through their hearts. I want them just to love themselves and help others to be who they are meant to be, you know.
right.
Get those layers out. Sorry, I got emotional.
Sorry, no, don't be sorry.
Went through a lot.
This is why we're going to win. All of us are going to win because we feel and they don't feel. They lost the gift of feeling. This is what we should be talking about. They want us talking about everything else under the sun. This is what needs to be talked about. This needs to be talked about. We show who we are. I just see you guys now in a new way. And I love you guys so much because this is our connection. Our cores are our connections. And it's like, that's what's going to make a better world. They want us divided, isolated, not even knowing who each other are. But these cores is what's going to make the world better. It cannot, right, Chad? There's no way we can shed it, right? Right, Frank? We can't shed it. We can't get rid of
no
this.
way. No way.
So
Nothing
it's
can
gonna
stop
happen.
me either. So it's just
In the creative, in the creative process, when you feel it, see it, it's going to be born. When you're going to write something, you know it has to be written. When you have a song in your heart, it has to be done. When you have a vision, Veronica, you know, it has to be done. It's like, that's how I know we're going to win. This world we envision has to be done, has to be seen, has to come. We have to write it. And all those with us here, we have the ability and the power because we feel it. Don't ever apologize. I know I do the same thing for feeling it. That's the greatest blessing. The greatest thing for us to see is you feeling. That means they didn't take that away from you. They failed.
They tried.
They failed.
Yeah, when I was in the military and police, you can't cry. You can't cry in front of somebody that's dying in your arms. So I've had that happen so many times. And because of drugs, because of heroin, because of fentanyl, because of meth, because they have not let to be themselves when they were children. You know, the parents are, no, you have to be a certain way, and no, you can't. You know, they stop their creativity. They put so much on kids that they had to find an outlet because they were different, because, you know, whatever, because they didn't let them be them. So they would die in my arms, or I had to cut people off because they choked themselves, because they didn't want to live anymore. And I could not cry. And I had a husband back then who was also a police officer, and I could not cry in front of him for anything either. I had a very stern mom that she would hardly cry. She's only cried twice in her life, she told me. So for the longest years and years and years, I could not cry. And now I can. They couldn't stop. The tears are actually, they are here to heal you. The body, the water in your body. We are the salt of the earth. When we cry, whether we're happy or sad, we are healing. We're healing our DNA. We're healing our cells that were cancerous, that were sad because they took everybody's shit. Excuse my language, but you're not no dump. So
Yeah.
stop dumping on people and stop dumping on
That's
you.
right. That's right.
And
Well, they're losing the ability to feel. Go ahead, Chad. Sorry.
it's important we take control too, because if they're in control and there's like devastation or something and people have to come out of that, there's a rehabilitation that's required for humanity right now, I feel, to heal. So if we just get scattered and then come up, I mean, it's not, there's the rehabilitation, it's not going to be there, you know. It'll just whatever. So I feel like we need to get control of it, because there's a huge process of a rehabilitation afterwards, you know.
Right. Healing together, basically.
Mm-hmm.
No, this
Those
is
people that, yeah.
I have never been on a more powerful program than this one right now, because I got to know you guys, your hearts, and it's like we see what matters in the screenplay. In my screenplay, it says, you know, think on what matters. When the Neuralink's pulled out, think on what matters. And we're going to face that in real life now. When we get subject to the Neuralink and that thing gets pulled, remember to think on what matters, and that's each other, you know. And the one thing they'll never have, and they're going to regret and envy us over, because they envy, is our ability to feel, and to feel in layers. They have lost that, and they're losing it. They put their feelings in the freezer, they say in the agencies. They lost their ability. So every time we laugh, every time we cry, every time we do it together, as you said, Chad,
Laugh and cry.
we've outdistanced them. We are doing what they
Yep.
cannot. And I would rather have a dynamic world than a flatline one. I'd rather have one that feels, that children, animals see feeling in their parents, see feelings in their uncles and aunties. And God bless all those children out there that they're claiming are rescued, and they're not. Enough of this game. The rescuing is yet to be done. And we're going to stay vigilant. If anyone's out there that knows these children, we're going to stay vigilant, and we're going to keep on it. And we're not going to quit until you actually are safe.
Right.
This stuff. Yeah.
We're not going to quit, you guys. I know that maybe you guys right now are in little cells, or maybe you're in houses that you're not supposed to be in and you're being abused, but we got you. If you're watching this podcast, or we love you, and even in the astral, we're going to fight for you, because we are warriors just like you.
Yeah.
We got you, and we're
That's
going
right.
to stop until you guys are safe and you're in a loving home.
Right. And we can't wait to see you and to look in your eyes. We can't wait to hear your stories and to have you speak and, you know, see you safe. So yeah, that's what matters, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what matters, guys. So thanks for doing this. This is the most special program I've ever been on.
Anytime.
Bar
Love
none.
you guys, and I'll let you go for now. And just remember, we are able to love in layers, and love like Tom Althouse did the Interstellar. Love, you can feel it through the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, through it all. And that is the most important thing.
And
love.
it conquers all.
Yes.
It does, doesn't it? And it gives us a guide to a
I
better
believe
world.
so.
Takes us to there. So I enjoy giving you questions next time. Yeah. And
Okay,
thank you
guys.
for having me.
I'll put all of our information after I load the video. First it'll be on YouTube, and then I do the thumbnail, and then I'll put all our information. Okay, love you guys. Bye, Chad. Bye, Tom.
All right, bye guys.
See you later.